Hi Gemini, welcome to your month ahead Tarotscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. I would be eternally grateful for it. For those of you that are already continued subbies, thank you so much for all of your support. If you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me, download or get a personal video file or a written reading, you can do so at my website. I love being able to say that now. www.reydiantreality.com. That's spelled R-E-Y, not R-A-D. So with all of the business out of the way, I would like to bless all of my decks with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's see what the month of October 2018 has in store for you. Okay, so your actions and your interactions with the world at large. So you got the Knight of Wands. Now, when you get the Knight of Wands, this is about finding your passion. It's also about following your passion. When you get the Knight of Wands, you're being asked to really observe what it is that you want to do next. What is the next step? And it's interesting because I've been telling you for months, slow down, take your time, start to, formulate where you want to go next. This month, you're acting from a place of your own passion. It's almost like the words that I'm hearing are actually, I've made my decision now. And this is good because when you're in a position of saying, right, I've made my decision, I know what it is that I want to do. Once you know what you want to do, once you truly make that choice, the universe lines up to support that choice. This is you making the steps. This is you putting your 50% in, making your actions known, making your intentions known. And it's kind of like, because you've got a Wands card in the fire sector. So this kind of says that it's going to be a dynamic month. It's going to be a busy month. You're going to be going here, there and everywhere. And you're going to be really searching for the truth. In many ways, you're going to be searching for whatever your personal truth is. And you're going to be demonstrating that to people. Whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's at work, whether it's in enterprise, whether it's, in your personal life, you're going to be doing. You're going to be out there actively doing things, making things happen. And you're doing this from a place of passion. From a place of truly understanding, right, this is it. I know what I want. I know how I want to make my mark. What I want to say to you though, is whatever decision you make this month, be prepared to stick with. So, make that decision, but, just understand that nothing happens overnight. Not for any of us, unfortunately, unless of course you win the lottery and then a lot of changes happen overnight, but you know what I mean. So your actions and your interactions this month. Good card, good card. Tapping into your passion. Interesting because you've had two cards come out for your money and your materials. So the Three of Cups talks about reunions. It talks about this to me, for a lot of you Geminis, this month, money or ideas of how you can make money are going to be supported by people that you know, by people that are coming back to you. Also, there is definitely a potential here for people coming back to you, and asking you to work for them. The word that I'm hearing is for freelancers, especially for those of you that are freelance workers or those of you that are independent workers or have your own business. It looks like an old client or an old boss or an old contract that you had this month is going to come back to you in some way, shape or form. And I kind of believe this is because they've gone through, they've tested the waters of so ever many people to fill the role that you had before, and they just haven't been able to find somebody that matches up to that. It's like, you know what, I want to get the Gemini person back in. I say Gemini because I don't know all of your names, but it's like I hear people or businesses thinking, I need Gemini. Nobody did it like them. Nobody was able to, to show up and be about it like they were. Like there's a vibrancy and a dynamism to you. The Temperance card is ruled by the sign of Sagittarius. Knight of Wands also has links to the sign of Sagittarius. So this is a double hit of this energy. So it kind of looks like your money and your materials are great this month. You've got something to celebrate. And because, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, there could be a small windfall here for you guys, especially with the Three of Cups. Because the Three of Cups is, it's about joy, enjoyment, mirth. So it looks like for a lot of you, you know, like I said, for freelancers and people that own their own business, this is about an old contract or an old, you know, worker coming back to you and saying, look, you know, I really need you and I really want to work with you again. For all of you as a whole, money looks good, and it looks like some kind of financial blessing is in there for you. You know, which is really nice, really nice, because the Temperance card as well it's about peace, but it's also about spiritual evolution, and it's also about alchemy. It's about turning base metals into gold. So it looks like through a reunion, a lot of you, you know, could be sitting down and having talks about something, and somebody says, oh, whatever happened with your idea about da-da-da-da? Did you ever get that off the ground? And then you think, oh, do you know what? I'd forgotten about that. Let me readdress that. And it could turn out to be quite lucrative for you. For some of you, by interacting with people that you used to know, that becomes lucrative for you. You know, it looks like a reconnection or a reconciliation in some way, shape or form. And that's really exciting. So your communications with the world at large, in your air and communication and intellectual sector. Let's have a look. That's really interesting, because the Judgment card is also ruled by Sagittarius and has links to Jupiter. It looks very much like whether it's things to do with law are coming through, whether it's things that you thought were done but haven't, you know, because this is a blast from the past as well. When you get the Judgment card, something that we thought was done is coming back to us to be resolved. Now, for some of you, this looks like something happens in your favor, some piece of information, some piece of, you know, or some person comes forward to back you up, to validate you. So if this is in terms of a company, it looks very much by saying, look, this is what I want. You know, the universe shuffles things around and says, right, this person wants this. They've said they wanted this. They're going in this direction. Let me shuffle things around and give them what they need in order for that to happen. So, you know, this reunion with people and this interaction in the money material sector gives you the idea to turn something really small, or some idea that you've been pushing away, like, oh, you know, maybe I'd like to do that, maybe I'd like to do that, and it keeps coming back. If it keeps coming back, that's a message to say this is where you should be going. You know, it's kind of like one of those things where you see, you know, like an angel tug on somebody's, like, this way. You know, it's one of those moments. In terms of your communications, there's definitely going to be a blast from the past for you guys. There's definitely, because this card, the card of reunions, right next to the Judgment card, blast from the past. There is something or someone that is coming back to you that you're going to hear from. For some of you, this is somebody overseas communicating with you that's going to, you know, that's going to give you news of some sort. It looks like it's happy news. It looks like it's something that is, you know, that's joyous, that's going to make you, you know, want to be a part of the celebration. For others of you, this is about a piece of a puzzle. This is about something coming back to you, and it's not like, you know, the High Priestess would give you a secret that gives you a piece of the puzzle, whereas the Judgment card just gives you the piece of puzzle. It's not anything that's secret. It's a piece of information that helps you put closure to something. You know, for a lot of you, that will be happening in that way as well. It looks like something comes back around so that you can either draw a line under it, or you can continue where you left off with it. So if that's in a work sector, for a lot of you, this looks really positive. It looks really good. You know, if it's on a personal note, it looks like for some of you, I don't know why, but the words that I'm hearing are by the skin of your teeth. Which is great. And then your heart and your half, you get the Hermit. The Hermit's going to see you doing a lot of soul searching in your personal relationships this month, Gemini. Really interesting, because the Judgment card brings something back for you to look at, and the Hermit card makes you look at it. So in terms of your heart and your half, your personal relationships, you're really going to start to see in your life who was good for you and who was not good for you, who is beneficial for you, who stood by you, who backed you up, who was there, who was with you, you know, who you can look at and say, you know what, yeah, actually this person has been good for my health, whether that's, excuse me, mental, physical, financial, emotional. You know, you're going to be really discerning, and this looks like you're searching really deep within yourself to say, right, okay, what was it about that person's actions that made me walk away? You know, and this could be a friendship, it could be a partnership. What is it that made me walk away from somebody? Were they a bit stifling? Probably, but they actually only ever wanted the best for me, you know? Whereas other people you'll be looking at and thinking, yeah, you know what, you came with all whistles and bells, but actually you weren't very good for me at all. I kind of feel like the word that I'm hearing is the juxtaposition. I kind of feel like this month you're going to see a real kind of, you know, through these blasts from the past, you're going to see a real leveling of the playing field. And when I say a leveling of the playing field, what I mean is you're going to see how the people that you thought were good for you actually weren't, and vice versa, how the people that you thought, oh, you know, because of this you're not good for me, but then you realize actually where all of their stuff was coming from. This sees you, the Hermit card always sees us getting really deeply discerning about what's happening in our lives, about what's coming up, and more importantly what we're going through. For those of you that are partnered, try to get your partner to understand that it's not personal. They've just got some stuff that they need to deal with. For a select few of you that are partnered, it looks like an ex of some sort, or somebody to do with an ex, comes back into the fold this week, and it's really important that you help your partner feel secure through that process. For those of you that are single, it looks like there's an ex kind of energy coming back into the fold. It could be fun, it could be enjoyable, it could, you know, come with mirth, it could even come with travel. You know, maybe they contact you and say, oh, you know, we always said that if we would go, you know, if we had the time or whatever, we would go to da-da-da-da. Well, actually, I've booked the trip and I've got no one to go with, you know, and I've got a spare ticket. It's that kind of thing, you know. Somebody comes to you and, you know, somebody that you used to know might come to you and say, look, you know, I've got this happening, do you want in? So the first week of October, the Heirophant card, which is good, especially underneath the Knight of Wands, because this is about you making the decisions. I kind of feel for some of you, you will be making a decision to really act on something. I kind of feel like this is a lot of you being deeply repentant. And it's very rare that I use that word in terms of the Hierophant, because the Hierophant is governing bodies, you know, it's police institutions, it's, you know, the governing bodies of universities, the governing bodies of, you know, anything legal. It looks like the first week, I gotta say this, Gemini, the first week you're gonna run, you're gonna want to run, but you will understand that you can't. And it looks like you're getting really real about that. You know, because the Knight of Wands is a very passionate, a very moving energy, whereas the Hierophant card is a very, you know, stay still. My advice to you for the first week of October: stand still or be held still. The choice is yours. You know, whatever that might mean to you. The second week of October, you get the Moon card. Interesting, because the Moon is about observing cycles and understanding your past, but it's also about listening to your intuition. For those of you that are, you know, especially around, I think it's going to be around the middle of the month, you know, for those of you that are invited anywhere to parties or get-togethers or reunions in the second week of October, go ahead. My advice to you though would be to be careful with the drinking, because it might well be something that ends up getting away with itself, and, you know, you end up crying on somebody's shoulder or having that kind of experience. You know, if it's the experience that you need, then go for it. But with any and all reunions or, you know, parties that you go to, especially in the second week of October, my advice to you would be kind of try and curb the alcoholic intake. Third week of October, you get the Horned One, the Devil card. There's definitely somebody coming back into the fold for you. There's definitely a return coming back to you. And I got to be honest, the Devil card is about addiction. It's about addictions and things that we're tied to that we feel like we can no longer throw off at will. And it looks like somebody comes back to you that reminds you of that. It's almost like the words that I'm hearing is, I was addicted to that person. This isn't a thing that you're necessarily addicted to, but it does, you know, for some of you, yeah, you know, whatever, you might start drinking a lot in the second week and it ends up rolling over into the third week. But underneath the Judgment card, this kind of tells me it's a person that comes back into your life. You were, you know, you confused the good times that you had with them with the person themselves, you know. And what's an example of that would be, I don't know, I had this one friend who we would go out and get completely trashed together. We would drink loads and laugh and dance, but you know, would always have the worst hangover, and she was actually really unreliable, you know, as a friend for anything else. And that's an example of that. You know, that's a good example of that. So, you know, don't confuse the good times that you had with a specific person. You know, try to be discerning as to what is what. And then finally, in the 4th week of October, you get the Empress, which is a good card. The Empress kind of, it echoes the Hermit card, because it gives that kind of understanding of my environment. The 4th week of October actually looks quite good in terms of the Empress, because it gives you beauty. You got a lot of earth energy going on here though, which is about grounded. It's about being practical. It's about understanding where your decisions have led, you know, especially underneath the Hermit card, because the Empress is about your environment. And I got to say this, for some of you, with the Devil card there as well, you're going to need to pay attention, because the things that you're doing at the moment, or the experiences that you're having, the good and the bad, and the people that you're going to bring into your environment, are what's going to influence it for quite some time to come. You know, whenever you get a lot of earth, these are things that are shaping up for quite a while in terms of a time sequence. So interesting, really, really interesting. The other thing about the Empress as well is she's fertile things, you know, and I feel the message here is give birth to things that are good for you, you know, seed relationships and people in your life that are good for you, that are beneficial, that are healing, that are, you know, nourishing on a soul level. You know, you are what you consume, you're also what you hang with. So you need to be really, really discerning about who it is that you bring into your life, who it is that you bring into your space. And then finally, your key to the month, you get the Death card. Interesting, because this popped up for Taurus as well. And the Death card is basically saying you're going to have to choose one life over another. And that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, like a physical life. What it kind of means is you've got two paths that you can take. Interesting, because these are all like really bright, apart from maybe the Hermit card, and it kind of suggests lots of movement, lots of social activity, lots of, you know, wrapping things up and building things that are new. Whereas your second line in the breakdown of the weeks, it kind of feels like this is a potential possibility, but then this is also a possibility as well. And it looks like, you know, in terms of this line, even though these, excuse me, these are the weeks of the month, it's very much asking you, do you want your old life and the old set of friends, or do you want a new life and a set of people around you that are going to bring you things that are truly amazing and truly beneficial, and also things that truly reflect who you're becoming as opposed to who you've been? That seems to be a bit of a thread going through a lot of the readings today, which is really, really interesting. Really interesting, you know. So I wish you an abundance of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance itself. Have an amazing month, and I'll see you very soon for more videos. Gemini, choose wisely.